Hi everybody, Matt here from Matt Likes Comics. Before I get into today's topic, I want to throw a shout out there to Terry at Dead Man Comics. Now, Terry does a lot of videos involving covers from the 1960s and 70s, Bronze and Silver Age, and a lot of them have been DC oriented. He's done Superman, Batman, and lately he's been doing adventure comics featuring Supergirl. And he's also done some Star Trek ones from the Gold Key era. So he's a favorite of a few friends of mine. So I thought I'd give Terry a shout out in today's video because he also inspired today's video for me. Now, on with the show. I will put, by the way, sorry, I will put a link to Terry's video in the description below, just like I will put a link to an earlier video from this character in the description below as well. Now, Linda Danvers slash Kara Zor-El slash Supergirl. Debuted in Action 252. That's pretty common knowledge. Spent from 1959 to 1969, so 10 years, as the backup in Action Comics, with the odd occasional showing in other Superman family type stories. Adventure 381 in 1969, she gets her own solo series that takes over the book until issue 422. This is in 1972, at which point she finally gets a book of her own, which I covered in an earlier video, that series. That's the one I'm going to link below. After that, she was lumped in with Lois Lane and Jimmy Olsen into the book called Superman Family, which took over Jimmy Olsen's numbering and went straight through till issue 222 in September of 1982. That number may seem familiar because I did a giveaway at 222 in honor of that number. Well, November 1982 comes along and Supergirl gets her own book. They called the book The Daring New Adventures of Supergirl, and it kept that title for 12 issues before they changed it to just Supergirl with issue 13. Also in the first 12 issues, starting with issue 2, so issues 2 to 12, Lois Lane was a backup feature in this book. So Jimmy Olsen was the only character not to get his own stories afterwards from the original 3 that started Superman Family. Because I guess he just could people. Jimmy Olsen's popularity had waned a bit from. At one point, he was the most popular character on the series, which is why he got the book in the first place. But that's another story. So I am going to cover today the first 12 issues, the Daring New Adventures of Supergirl run today. Every issue was written by Paul Kluppenberg, penciled by Carmine Infantino, and inked by Bob Oskner. Bob Oskner may be remembered because he did inks on some of the issues of the first Supergirl series as well. And most people know who Carmine Infantino is from his days with The Flash and Batman. And Star Wars and Marvel, by the way. So, let us go with issue 1. Nice cover. Most of the covers here are done by either Paul Buckner and Dick Giordano or Gil Kane. This one happens to be a Buckner Giordano. Linda Danvers relocates to Chicago and enrolls in Lakeshore University. While at the campus, she has an encounter with Gail Marsh, who has psychic powers. Both are repelled from each other by the power that they can sense in each. Gail is being taught by a Mr. Pendergast in order to wipe out the decay, meaning underbelly people, poor, unwashables, racial shit. Destroying Chicago, in his opinion. When she attempts to do so as the villain Psy, Supergirl confronts her. She beats Supergirl, but is not allowed to kill her, as she is told that she can add Supergirl's powers to her own. Issue 2, Crisis over Chicago. Supergirl exerts herself and breaks free from Psy's trap. Fighting back and winning, Supergirl gets Psy to see the moral conflict of destroying Chicago's underbelly. And thus, Psy teleports back to Mr. Pendergast. He tries to kill her for her failure. But when Psy fights back, he takes her energy and suddenly mutates into a slime being and calls himself Decay. That's issue 2. And issue 3, which is called Decay Day. Here's Decay on the cover. Decay goes through Chicago, killing a derelict and causing havoc by reducing things to their component parts. Supergirl appears to stop him, but is almost defeated. Psy has turned against Pendergast, and he rushes towards her. Psy then uses her powers to transfer Decay back into Mr. Pendergast, and then she vanishes, never to be seen again. Before I go any further, there is one theory about there is one theme throughout this part of the series. Supergirl is feeling a little self-doubt because she's not the hero Superman is. She had just, in Superman family, left being a professional actress on a soap opera, and she's here studying acting again because she has a little bit of doubt in her abilities, and she wanted to start her life over, like many young women, or young people do. They try to find themselves. This one here is called Hail, Hail, the Gang's All Here. Supergirl encounters the gang, 4 superpowered mercenaries, while they are holding up and robbing the Aerospace Technologies Convention going on in Chicago. One of the characters named Ms. Mesmer, who has the power of hypnotism, hypnotizes Supergirl long enough so that she's delayed and they can escape. She also manages to plant a post-hypnotic suggestion that will kick in whenever she sees her reflection once they meet again. Meanwhile, it turns out Supergirl's neighbor, John Ostrander, was supposed to be the one to pay the gang for the job. But instead of making the meeting, he goes to an audition. He's also an acting student. The gang tracks him down and confronts him, and where Supergirl sees them. She then sees her reflection in a store window and thinks that her secret identity has been blown and flies away. Is anybody up for some Alfred Hitchcock? Is anybody up for some Alfred Hitchcock? Is anybody up for some Alfred Hitchcock? Sorry, I love the homage. This is issue 5. It's called Fear Times 4, the story. Supergirl goes back to her foster parents' house for a visit, where they manage to convince her that she's only hallucinating with regards to her secret identity. The gang, meanwhile, take John Ostrander to the theater where he had auditioned to look for the pay envelope. However, a security guard is there and he shoots Ms. Mesmer. Supergirl shows up, hearing the shot, fighting off the hypnosis, captures 3 of the 4 members. The leader, called Brains, escapes. And Ms. Mesmer releases her from the hypnotic state in return for a trip to the hospital. Unfortunately, the guard is killed, by the way. This is one of the coolest. This is a Gil Kane cover, but this is one of the coolest covers that I like in the run. This is issue 6, called Battleground O'Hare. Matrix Prime, a giant super robot loaded with a bunch of smaller robots that are drones, emerges from Lake Michigan, steals a large box. Sorry, I thought it said bot for a sec. Steals a large box from a hangar at O'Hare Airport and battles Supergirl. Supergirl then fakes being defeated so she can follow the robot back to its base, which is at the bottom of Lake Michigan. This is a fun cover. I remember as when I bought this as a kid thinking, oh my god, this is so awesome. Yes, I'm easily impressed. The next book is issue 7. And this 7 is, this meeting will come to order. While Supergirl penetrates the council's underwater installation, Lester Adams is the guy that hired the gang. He is tried by his fellow council members for his failure in getting the component part, and is found guilty and is killed on the spot. Supergirl defeats their minions, Matrix Prime, and Brains, and finds the body, but has no idea what has gone on. Later, and that sort of wraps up, like, just quickly wraps up this whole gang council storyline quick, right? Later, Linda Danvers goes to a concert with a couple of her friends and sees a blast of energy stab down at a trench-coated person who turns out to be Negative Woman of the Doom Patrol, of the new Doom Patrol. The new Doom Patrol will always have a soft spot with me because it was against them that the Ambush Bug made his first appearance in DC Comics Presents 59. Or 52, sorry. This next issue is a big one in terms of Supergirl from here on in, because one of her biggest ever enemies makes his first appearance in this book. And this enemy continues into later series, so that's why I say so. This is called Stand-Ins for Supergirl. And it's the first appearance of Reactor. Reactor has a big role in the Krypton, the new Krypton Superman storyline when he kills Zor-El, who's Supergirl's father in that storyline. That was his biggest contribution, and he was part of the war, and he came back and forth to bother Supergirl over the years. But this is his first appearance. Reactor, an atomic foe of the new Doom Patrol, is lured into the vicinity to the park by the patrol using Negative Woman as bait. When the battle between Reactron and the Doom Patrol begins to get big, Linda is sent away by Tempest. Tempest is the African-American hero of the new Doom Patrol that's on the cover here. He has no idea who she is, so he shoos her away. And her friends drag her away to the point where she cannot get away to become Supergirl, so she watches the fight with her X-ray vision from a distance. Later, Reactron appears at Lakeshore University because he's drawn there by the radiation pattern of a secret experimental reactor. Unfortunately for him, Supergirl is there to try and stop him. This is issue 9, called Re-Enter Reactron. The Doom Patrol arrives and by tracking him down through his radiation trail, and helps Supergirl fight him. Reactron ends up getting encased in lead, thus pausing the fight. Tempest then tells his origin and how Reactron enters into his own origin. He explains how Reactron was irradiated and gained his powers, and it was the Council that created him. Reactron manages to break free from the lead and absorbs all the available radiation in the area and gives Supergirl a major blast. She then creates a funnel of air that draws Reactron to the upper atmosphere, where, due to the fact that he is overloaded on radiation, explodes. Supergirl, being knocked out, crashes to the ground, and Robot Man tells his teammates that she is absorbed so much radiation of an unknown variety that it's probably going to kill her. Issue number 10. This is called Radiation Fever, and my copy is a Canadian price variant. Number 10. Supergirl is still adversely affected by the radiation that she has absorbed from Reactron. Having made an enemy of Police Inspector Lieutenant Peters, she is not able to get any help from the police. This particular policeman does not like vigilantes. At the same time that Supergirl is trying to convince the police of the danger Reactron still may do, and the potential danger of the radiation, the Council, which hasn't disappeared, contacts Professor Dale, who is one of the Council members, to develop a new technique for cloning. He admits he's already done so. Then the Council sends Matrix Prime to capture Supergirl and bring her in a very weakened state, so he cannot put up much of a fight. He brings her captive to Drake's laboratory. Drake immerses her in a bunch of chemicals that cause 6-foot-high clones of Supergirl to form, all under his command, all with her superpowers. He tells Supergirl that she will not survive the process. What a nerd, eh? Yeah, like, because I can talk. The next two covers are by Gil Kane. I'm just pointing it out because to me they're obvious. Issue 11 is called A Dark and Frozen Purgatory. The cover features Supergirl being attacked by the 6 clones. Supergirl does manage to survive the cloning process by breaking out of the cloning chamber just in time. However, her powers have been severely drained by the cloning and by the radiation sickness that she has had. She still manages to battle her way out of the laboratory and heads towards the Fortress of Solitude. Under the council of the chairman's supervision, Drake sends the 6 little clones after her to the Arctic. Since she is not up to par, the clones defeat her, and they begin to drag her to a disintegration pit inside the fortress. Which brings us to the last issue we're going to cover today, issue 12. Supergirl manages to stop herself from falling to the bottom of the disintegration pit by digging her fingers into the sidewall of the pit. The fumes she ends up inhaling while being in the pit actually end up curing her of the radiation sickness, and she emerges ready for battle and more than a match for the clones. She puts on a lead suit and defeats the 6 clones with gold kryptonite. The chairman, seeing her victory, kills Professor Drake for his failure. And that ends the 12 issues of the daring new adventures of Supergirl. Join us next time when we pick up with Supergirl 13 when I do this. And that series, Supergirl, went 23 issues total with the 2 parts, which ended abruptly with her death in Crisis 7. And that saddens me because Supergirl 23 leaves with a couple of cliffhangers, which you'll see in the future, that as a result of her death and the cancellation of the series never get resolved, which is too bad because the book was starting to really get good by that point. If you liked today's show, please like, subscribe, and comment below. I'd like to know what covers you liked, if you've read the series yourself, what stories you liked, or if you plan on reading them yourself, or if you've read them and don't like them, I want to hear too. Supergirl will always be my favorite comic book character. She just has been from the time I was 5 years old, and will be probably till the end of time. With the rest of the Superman family not far behind, admittedly. Thank you very much for joining us today. I really appreciate it. My name is Matt, and I like comics, and I hope you do too. Thank you. Bye.